Hi people, Murunuri from work here again. Um, I'm going to discuss a topic. I just wrote an article on it called Divine Self Empowerment is Unattainable. And yeah, let's just delve right into it. People that are generally speaking familiar with the occult, people that are generally speaking familiar with the occult, are familiar with the whole right hand path and left hand path. Even if you're only familiar with the occult or occultism at a basic level, you're familiar that you've got, generally speaking, white magicians and black magicians. You've got people that are attracted to the light side or the dark side, and you've also got people that are simply undefined. They're simply neutral. And in reality, okay, on that note, since I just said that, there is no such thing as white or black magic. It all depends what your intentions are. Anything of a malevolent nature can be considered black magic by that logic, and anything of a benevolent nature can be considered white magic. But generally speaking, we all know what is meant when people give themselves the name white magicians or black magicians. Usually speaking, they're more focused on the positivity, the white ones, and the black ones are more focused on things of a darker nature, working with darker spirits, anything from working with dark entities or entities that are chthonic in nature, to actually having, for the most part, malevolent deeds in mind for their practices, you name it. That's the general gist of it when it comes to these labels, these occult labels. What I meant by the header, divine self-empowerment is unattainable, is that generally speaking, within the left hand path, so within the world of the dark magician or the black magician, so a magician or a sorcerer that is attracted to the dark side and that wants to work with dark spirits for the most part, or that wants to carry out mischievous deeds in general, or only uses his magic or her magic for those purposes. You name it, people that do stuff like that. Okay, that's these people, generally speaking. Even the occult orders that focus more on that use dark entities, for example, infernal entities, such as the Church of Satan, the Temple of Seth, you name it, or even dark pagan chthonic deities. They use them as a symbol for self-empowerment. Keep in mind that I'm not claiming to be an expert on these orders, as I state in my article. By the way, you can find the link in the description below. I'm not saying that I'm an expert. I'm just saying that in general, the mission and vision of these orders and of black magicians in general is to simply self-ascend. That's what they say, as in your mission and vision as a magician, okay, as a black magician, should be to separate yourself from the highest God and to become your own God, your own creator. That's what they mean. That's generally speaking within general guidelines, within broad lines, if you will. That's pretty much what the general black magician strives for. General black magician seeks to attain that, as in, cast the so-called shackles of God off of you. For example, someone that, generally speaking, isn't necessarily Christian or doesn't follow any mainstream religion, but does believe does have a monotheistic religious line of thought, along the lines of believing that there is an almighty God and that everyone more or less falls under him, etc., or it, you name it, etc., etc., etc. And generally speaking, black magicians try to, or their goal, their focus, okay, the whole purpose of their journey, or better said, the end line or end game of their journey, is to actually reach that point where they can cast the metaphorical shackles off themselves that were, as they see it, placed upon them by the highest God, and they're in essence or essentially free from so-called the highest God's tyranny. Just a simple example: a Christian, someone that is, a moderate Christian. The person isn't a hardcore Christian. The person doesn't constantly go to mass or doesn't attend church every Sunday, etc. But the person, generally speaking, okay, is Christian leaning or considers himself a Christian. Someone like that occupies himself with the occult and actually says, listen, I'm attracted to dark entities, dark spirits, so I'm going to work with those. And the whole mission and vision of the Left Hand Pact appeals to me because I simply want to be my own master and creator, and I want to separate myself from the highest God. I want to be my own God. I want to be able to create my own reality, and I do not want to fall under any highest God, so to speak. Okay, that's the general mission and vision of an LHPer, not in general, in broad terms. And someone like that, sees being under the highest God, sees being under the highest God within a monotheistic line of thinking. By the way, by monotheism, I simply mean, a religion in which you fall under one highest God, as in there is a higher God, an upper God, if you will, an almighty one, or a one ruling over all others. Not that there are any others, okay, but so to speak, as opposed to polytheism. Polytheism is simply a reference to religions where you have multiple gods, regardless of class or which God is above which other one. Polytheism simply stands for religions with multiple gods, and monotheism, a religion with one head God. That's it. One main God. That's all. And that God is everything, more or less, to his or her to its followers. And that's how they see it. So, especially people that follow the LHP simply see God as the oppressor. That's why usually Satan is glorified and loved, because Satan is an archetype. He's the symbol of the underdog that, against all odds, simply had the balls to go against God. That's their line of thinking. And regardless of the outcome, the fact that he lost, so to speak, and whatnot, regardless of that, he still managed to retain his sense of self, and the fact that he made it very clear what his existential mission was, as in he would rather be his own creator under less desirable circumstances than be simply another follower of the highest God, but have under better circumstances. That's it. And that's why Satan is used as an archetype, not literally a reference to the entity Satan, but for them Satan is simply it's about what Satan stands for. This whole notion, honestly, I'm going to come straight out and say it. I don't care whether LHPers disagree with me. You have the right to respectfully disagree. Leave whatever you have to say in the comments below. Okay, but please have the maturity to not be butthurt or anything like that. Okay, you also need to be open for scrutiny and discrimination. This whole thing is pure nonsense. The whole logic of black magicians and their mission and vision, everything I just explained, this whole notion, this whole theology makes zero sense and is simply dismissible. It's hooey, it's nonsense, it's absolute crap. Bluntly put, it's bullshit. Okay, and yeah, those are bold words, I know that, but this is simply based on the fact. I'm gonna keep it real short and real simple. This is simply based on the fact that what they're striving for is unattainable. That's what I mean with the header. Okay, divine self-empowerment is unattainable. I'm not referring to personal ambitions and realizing your goals and dreams and shaping your own reality. No, those things are commonplace for a magician, regardless of affiliation or alignment. What I'm referring to is the fact that you cannot literally separate yourself from the highest God. That makes no sense. Okay, otherwise everyone could do that. It doesn't matter what you say or do, you will always fall under the highest God. And a lot of people seem to miss this. That's the whole definition of omnipotence, of being almighty. That's why the highest God, regardless of which religion you practice, but just for good measure's sake, I'm going to give, again, list Christianity as an example. So the Yahweh God. For example, I'm a Christian. I know that regardless of what I do, I'll never be able to not fall under God. God is God. That's why He's Almighty. Otherwise, the whole almightiness, the omnipotence, means squash. It means squat. It does not mean a single thing. So it doesn't matter how high I ascend, how powerful I become, how skilled I become, blah, 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 blah. No. It does not matter. Regardless of what you do, regardless of your level of self-development at a divine and spiritual level, you will not, nor will you ever be able to separate yourself from God, because God is almighty and everything is God's will, including your own self-ascension, including everything that will ever happen to you and has ever happened to you and is happening to you. Your entire existence is dependent on the highest God. God can snuff you out like that if you want to, if He wants to. It's that simple. Your entire existence means nothing to God. He's the one that gave you the existence. He can just as easily take it away. It'll be like you never existed, as long as He wills it. But people seem to have difficulty grasping the concept of omnipotence. That's the whole point of omnipotence. If I'm almighty, I sit on my throne, even if I wanted a throne, okay, so to speak, as a matter of speech. And there is nothing or no one in the world that can challenge me. That's the whole point of omnipotence. The second there is something that poses a threat to me, then I'm not omnipotent, because I'm not undefeatable. That's the whole definition of omnipotence. That's the whole definition of almighty. Almighty means I rule supreme, period. Nothing else. Okay? Nada más. Nothing else. I rule supreme, end of story. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That speaks for itself. Like I said, I'm going to keep it really short. That alone destroys the whole logic that these LHP orders have in general, based on their mission and vision in relation to what I said, what I explained in the beginning. And again, I'm not claiming to be. I listed a couple of examples in my article, namely the Church of Satan and the Temple of Seth. Keep in mind, I repeat, keep in mind, I'm not claiming to be an expert on these orders and what they're all about. I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm not expertly knowledgeable on everything within these orders and what they're all about and whatnot. This is a general statement that I'm making. I'm saying that generally speaking, these kinds of orders, these are more or less orders for black magicians or people that are interested in the dark side. And generally speaking, magicians that follow the left-hand path officially, theologically, okay, from a theoretical perspective, and put it into practice, have that goal in mind. Their whole focus is to attain self-empowerment on a divine level, to the point where they're not dependent on any deity, to the point where they're literally their own Lord and Master and whatnot. And that is not possible. That is literally not possible. It doesn't matter what you want to say or what you want to do. And another thing before I close off is that part of this also hinges on the fact that, like I said again, that God is an almighty. He's not omnipotent. And therefore, for example, biblically speaking, from a Christian perspective, that Satan and demons, so infernal angels and whatnot, for fallen angels, you name it, non-celestial angels, so infernals, those that oppose the holy ones, actually pose a threat to God and the whole mythical war in heaven. I have a separate video on that. You're more than welcome to check it out when the end screen appears, alongside other videos that I'll be putting up there, in case you haven't seen those videos. But again, in one of those videos, I explained that the whole war in heaven thing is pure bullshit. Okay, there was never any war in heaven. There is no struggle between good and evil, an eternal struggle, the way that mainstream religions such as Catholicism, specifically that branch of Christianity, wants you to believe. You name it, things like that popes utter, general stuff that you can expect from mainstream religious figures. No, that is all crap. That is all absolute nonsense. Okay, there was never any war in heaven, never will be. Okay, unless God wills it. But it doesn't matter. Everything is simply the highest being's existence. Okay, it's His plan. Everything, the whole war in heaven is literally, the whole so-called war in heaven was literally just Him saying, okay, I want these guys to rebel, you guys rebel, okay, time to kick them out, end of story. Okay, you don't stand a chance against God. That's the whole definition of Him being, that's the whole point of Him being almighty, that you don't stand a chance, nor will you ever. Every breath you take, every step you take, everything you do and will ever do and have ever done, down to the smallest particle of your being, is all God. That's the whole point of it all, okay? And obviously there's nothing you can do about that. You can't literally unshackle yourself, because because there are no shackles to begin with. God owns you. Bluntly put, we're nothing more than puppets to God. God can do with us as He pleases. He can do with us whatever He wants to do at any given moment. Another topic relating to this very issue is the concept of free will. Again, check out the end screen, okay, and the fact that free will doesn't exist. I've already discussed that in length in my in that video on free will, because some people are under the delusion that they have free will, but they do not have free will. Okay, you never did, you never will. Okay, the whole concept of free will is idiotic, honestly. But yeah, you can just watch the video. If you watch the video, then you'll hear everything I have to say, and you can read the article, which is linked in the description of all the videos below. And you'll, if you want to read instead of watch, and you'll see immediately why I say what I say. It's something that's pretty obvious, and still a good deal of people overlook it because they don't think that far ahead. Figures, it's just, people that think superficially will not think that far ahead, but it doesn't matter. That's all. I have nothing else to say. Enjoy. I'll hear it if you have anything else. If anyone watching this has something on their mind in the comment section. Later. Bye.